I'm Monica, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I prepared my toddler for his new baby sister. When I found out I was pregnant with my second, I knew I wanted my babies to be close, and they ended up being about a little over 25 months apart. What I found is that preparing my son, he really did understand what was going on, and even if they can't express it, he talked a lot when he was young, so that kind of made it a little bit easier to understand, like his understanding. But really, I think that kids are so perceptive and they understand so much. Some of the things that I did to make sure that he did fully grasp this and understand, I told him pretty early, really. It wasn't something that was like consuming him or consuming us. It was just kind of like he would watch my belly grow, he would come to the doctor's appointments with us, he would hear the heartbeat, he came to our ultrasound appointment. So he was really involved in the process, and I felt like that really helped him understand what was really happening. So one of the easiest things that I found to do is just to get a few books about getting a new baby or being a big brother or sister. We just read those books kind of over and over. He knew the books, and I just felt like it really prepared him for what was going on. So I've got a couple of books that I found to be helpful, and the first one was this I'm a Big Brother book, and it's by Joanna Cole. She also does one that's called I'm a Big Sister, which is the same, just with a little girl instead of a little boy. And this is nice because it just says, okay, you know, we're getting a new baby, and this is what you can expect, what babies can do, what babies can't do. And so we got this one as well. It's called My New Baby, and this one's by Rachel Fuller. And I'll link these down in the description box as well. And in addition to that, I'd absolutely recommend, if you can, to do a baby book for them. Actually, I was really lucky. My husband, for my first Mother's Day, made me this book. It's just like the story of Monica and Jude for our first year. And it's just got a ton of pictures, literally like the story of his first year, like this is us in the hospital, and he did a cute little narrative. You don't have to do that. I just think that when he was able to see himself as a baby and see that process for himself, it kind of brought it home, like what it meant to have a new baby and what it meant that mommy was pregnant. I absolutely recommend doing something like that. And if you can't, you know, do a book, just show him pictures of you and him and the whole family, so that they can see they were a baby, that they were held, that they were in the carrier, that they were nursed, so that they understand that they had that baby time as well. Because, you know, you hear stories of, you know, kids being like, can we take him back to the hospital? I thought it was important that he knew that this baby did not come from the hospital, that it came from me, and that this baby would be a part of our family. Another thing that we did to make sure that he understood what was happening was to show him videos of how the baby develops inside the mom. Animations of like babies growing in the womb, what the baby eats and how the baby breathes in there. We talked about the placenta and the umbilical cord. Even though he was just 2, he understood. If you asked him, you know, how's the baby eating? He'd say placenta. And, you know, maybe that's a lot for some people, but for us, it worked. And I think that he really appreciated just learning more. And so I actually showed him, you know, like the really peaceful home birth videos. I showed him a couple of those, like the water births. So it was nothing graphic, nothing scary, no like screaming or anything like that, but you can comb the internet and find those videos. And that's kind of what I did. So I showed him a couple of those. I actually showed him his birth video. Maybe that's not something that your child will be into, but if it is, then, you know, I just think that getting the most information in a way that's, like I said, catered towards the age. Another thing that we did was to kind of talk about when the baby comes, what babies can do, what babies can't do, what you can do with the baby, what you can't do with the baby. So for instance, we would let them know that when the baby comes, they're gonna sleep a lot, they're gonna eat a lot, and they're gonna cry. I thought that was really important for him to understand. She's not gonna come out and like be ready to go play with him and wrestle with him and can't do all the things that he can do, so that he kind of understood what he was getting. So then we had to talk about things that she could do, things that she couldn't. Babies can't eat food. I think that's important because, you know, sometimes you hear stories about toddlers trying to be sweet and share their snacks with the baby. So what can babies eat? Can babies eat pizza? No. Can babies eat raisins? No. Can babies eat milk? Yes. When you bring home a new baby, sometimes for a young toddler like this, you can imagine like if your husband were to bring home another wife, and then they were supposed to be like sharing your room and, you know, taking all the attention away from your husband, and you're supposed to just love them and let them have all your toys and all of your clothes. And so it kind of made me think about it a little bit more of how this would be affecting him and how I wanted him to see her. Given all of that, I wanted him to feel like his sister was his sister. I was very specific about how I talked about her. I didn't say, Mommy can't do that because I'm with the baby. I never said the baby. I would always say your baby sister, or your baby, or our baby. And then he started to adopt that language too. She's still, to this day, that's his baby, that's his sister. And I think that the language really helped with that. I didn't want to make any major changes right before she was born. So for instance, I wouldn't take him out of his crib like the month before she's born and say, okay, now you've got the big boy bed, and then give her the crib. I had them get gifts for each other. He had a little dog that we had gotten for him to give to her, and he was so excited to bring it to her. He had it in his room for, several weeks. He saw it all the time. He was really excited to give it to her. So when he came to the hospital, he got to bring his present for her, and she got him a present as well. We got him this little mixer thing. For weeks he would say that it was from her. I think that that was like a sweet little thing that he could have. Obviously she doesn't remember it, but I think that made him feel really excited and important. Another thing that I really wanted him to be prepared for, because I am a stay-at-home mom and he was used to being with me every single day, was what would happen when I would go to the hospital. And so, we told him that his grandma, his Mimi, would be coming to stay with him, and so he knew that she was coming. He'd never spent a night away from me at this point. We just talked to him about exactly what was going to go down. We had his best friend come over and play with him, so he's got something to look forward to. So that was great to be able to set up a play date with like one of his favorite people. So I just think that just setting it up so that they're comfortable, they know what's going to happen, is really helpful. And then for the actual introduction, they're coming to the hospital to see you, not really to meet the new baby. I mean, they are to meet the baby, but really like they want to see you because they've been away from you for a while. So I wasn't holding the baby or nursing the baby at this point. My arms are free to give him a big hug. It wasn't like, oh, coming into this jarring situation where I can't see my mommy, I can't hold my mommy. So the last thing I want to touch on is I felt like the last few weeks leading up to it, I could just sense his anxiety, and he was kind of having some acting out behaviors and just kind of showing me that he was feeling a little bit nervous about it. And so I think it's just really important to spend just as much quality time with you as you can with your child and just get all those moments in, because even though you get so much more, it's also so different. Those last few weeks with your one child, that dynamic of the family does change. I just really try to take those last weeks in and just kind of get as much of that family of three time as possible. Give them a little extra love, be understanding of what they're going through, because even though he was so little, he's only 2, he has all of these big emotions and big feelings. Even though you're really pregnant, it's hard because you're tired. Just kind of giving them that little extra freedom to have those feelings and just try to support them. After following through with all of these different things that we did, at the end of the day, I really did feel like he was really prepared. And although there's always going to be some anxiety and there's going to be a little bit of jealousy, I felt like it was at a manageable level. I felt like they bonded really well. He really loved his sister. He wanted to hold her all the time. And now 2 years later almost, they're like best friends. They love each other. They play together. They're siblings. So, there's those fights. But really, I felt like at the end of the day, it all paid off. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. And again, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And I hope you subscribe to the channel and come back next time.